In the heart of a small village nestled between rolling hills and endless savannas lived a young woman named Amina. She was known throughout the village for her gentle spirit and unwavering devotion to her family. Her days followed a steady rhythm, helping her mother tend to their small garden, fetching water from the nearby stream and preparing meals for her younger siblings. Life was simple, predictable, and for Amina, comfortably so. But change has a way of sneaking in when least expected. One morning, as the first rays of sunlight filtered through the thatched roofs, a messenger arrived from the city. He brought news that Amina's father, who had gone to seek work in the distant town of Kibu, had fallen ill and could no longer support the family. With heavy hearts, her parents explained that Amina would need to leave the village to work in Kibu and provide for her siblings. The village, with its familiar rhythms and the comforting presence of elders, would be behind her now. Fear gripped Amina. She had never left the village beyond the rolling hills and winding paths she knew so well. The thought of the city, with its bustling streets, strange noises, and unknown faces, filled her with dread. Yet she understood the gravity of her responsibility. With a trembling heart, she hugged her mother tightly and promised she would return stronger. The journey to Kibu was long and exhausting. The dusty road stretched endlessly, and Amina clutched her small bundle of belongings tightly. She passed forests where birds sang in voices she had never heard before, and rivers that shimmered like silver under the sun. Each step felt like leaving a piece of her old life behind, and yet with each step, she realized she was walking towards something new. Upon arrival, the city overwhelmed her senses. People hurried past in every direction, shouting, laughing, or arguing. The smells of food, smoke, and sweat mingled in the air, and the tall buildings seemed to stretch endlessly toward the sky. Amina found work at a small market, selling vegetables and grains from a wooden stall. At first, the city felt cold and indifferent, a world in which her quiet village upbringing seemed out of place. Days turned into weeks. Amina learned to navigate the crowded streets, memorized the fastest routes to fetch supplies, and learned to bargain with city customers who demanded sharp wits and confidence. Slowly, she began to find her footing. She discovered that her patience, which had once been a virtue only in tending the garden or listening to elders' stories, became a strength here. She could listen to the needs of the customers, anticipate their requests, and handle difficult situations with calm resolve. One evening, as Amina returned to the small room she rented above the market, she noticed a poster for a sewing school offering evening classes. Sewing had always been a hobby for her, a skill taught by her mother, who spent countless hours stitching clothes for the family. The thought of learning more, of turning her hobby into a skill that could earn her a better livelihood, sparked something within her. She enrolled immediately, and soon the rhythmic hum of the sewing machine became her companion in the evenings. Months passed, and Amina's confidence grew. She began to take orders for custom garments, and her reputation spread. People admired her attention to detail and the care she put into each stitch. What once felt like a world too vast and intimidating now felt like a place brimming with opportunities. Amina realized that life's unexpected turn, the illness of her father and the move to the city, had opened doors she had never imagined. Yet it was not all easy. There were days when homesickness gripped her like a cold wind. She missed the laughter of her siblings, the scent of her mother's cooking, the familiar songs of the village. On those days, she would walk to the nearby park, sit under a lone mango tree, and close her eyes, imagining the hills of her home. These moments reminded her of her purpose, of the reason she had embarked on this journey, and gave her the strength to continue. One particularly rainy afternoon, a wealthy woman named Mrs. Langer came to Amina's stall. She was impressed by the delicate embroidery on a dress Amina had made for a local client. Mrs. Langer offered Amina a contract to design clothes for her boutique, which catered to the city's elite. The opportunity was immense, but it came with challenges, longer hours, higher expectations, and a pressure to constantly innovate. Amina hesitated, recalling the quiet days in the village, the predictability she had always known. But deep down she knew this was the chance to thrive, to rise beyond fear, and to embrace the change life had thrust upon her. Amina accepted the contract. The work was demanding, but with every design she discovered more of her creativity. She experimented with colors and patterns inspired by her village, weaving stories of her homeland into each garment. Customers admired the authenticity and soulfulness of her designs, and soon her reputation grew beyond the city, attracting clients from neighboring towns. As she flourished, Amina sent money back home, ensuring her siblings could continue their schooling, and her mother had the supplies she needed. Every letter from home reminded her of the resilience she had inherited from her family and the strength that had carried her through the city's chaos. One day, while walking through the market, Amina noticed a young girl struggling to carry a basket of fruit. The scene reminded her of her own early days in the city. Without hesitation, she rushed over, helping the girl lift the heavy load and showing her how to navigate the crowded streets. The girl's gratitude and bright smile mirrored the kindness that had been shown to Amina when she first arrived. In that moment, she realized that embracing change was not just about surviving or succeeding. It was about learning, growing, and sharing the strength gained with others. Years passed, and Amina's life had transformed. She became a respected designer, known for her ingenuity and perseverance. She never forgot her village roots, often returning to teach young women sewing skills, encouraging them to pursue opportunities beyond their familiar horizons. The village welcomed her not only with open arms, but with admiration, seeing how she had turned adversity into a life of purpose and influence. Amina often reflected on the day she left her village, terrified and unsure. She realized that life's unexpected turns, while frightening, were also doors to self-discovery and growth. By embracing change, she had learned to thrive in ways she had never imagined, discovering courage, creativity, and a resilience she had once doubted. One evening, under the shade of a mango tree in her village, Amina sat with her mother, watching the sun dip below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson. Her mother took her hand and whispered, "Life will always surprise you, my daughter. It is not the path we choose, but how we walk it that shapes who we are." Amina smiled, feeling the weight of her journey and the triumph of her choices. She had walked through fear, uncertainty, and hardship and emerged stronger, wiser, and full of hope. And in that moment, Amina understood that change was not an enemy to be feared, but a teacher to be embraced. Life, with all its twists and turns, had given her the gift of transformation, and she had thrived. In a lush savannah, where the sun kissed the golden grass and the baobab trees stood like ancient guardians, there lived a proud lion named Shaka. He was strong, feared by all, and believed that might and speed were the keys to success. All the animals admired him from a distance, but none dared approach. One morning, a clever little hare named Tano approached Shaka with a bold idea. "Great lion," he said, "I challenge you to a race." The lion roared in laughter. "A race? With you, little hare? Do you not know I am the fastest in all the land?" Tano smiled politely. "Perhaps, but speed alone does not always win. Let us see, and may the best succeed." Shaka agreed, confident in his strength. The animals of the savannah gathered to watch. The race began, and as expected, the lion shot forward like a bolt of lightning. The hare, tiny and slow, hopped steadily but surely, keeping a consistent pace. Halfway through, Shaka looked back and laughed. "That little hare, I am far ahead. I will rest under that tree for a while." He laid down, thinking he had plenty of time. The hare, however, never stopped. Slowly, patiently, he moved forward. Hours passed. The sun began to set. Shaka woke and realized with shock that Tano was already at the finish line. The hare had won. The lion learned a valuable lesson that day. Strength and speed are important, but patience, consistency, and humility are just as crucial. Shaka bowed his head to Tano and said, "You have taught me a lesson I will never forget." From that day forward, Shaka ruled the savannah not just with strength, but with wisdom and fairness. And Tano? He became known as the little hare with the greatest heart and the sharpest mind. Moral: patience and perseverance can triumph over arrogance and haste,